How did chemical weapons lead to IHL prohibitions? The horrors of warfare have often pushed humanity to rethink its rules. One of the most shocking chapters in this story is the use of chemical weapons during World War I. The devastating impact of these weapons on soldiers and civilians alike revealed a pressing need for change in how wars are fought. Chemical weapons like chlorine gas and mustard gas caused immense suffering. They did not discriminate between combatants and non-combatants, leading to widespread casualties and long-term health issues. This indiscriminate nature violated the basic principles of international humanitarian law, which aims to protect civilians and limit unnecessary suffering during conflicts. In response to the catastrophic effects of chemical warfare, the international community took action. The 1925 Geneva Protocol was adopted, prohibiting the use of chemical and biological weapons in international armed conflicts. This was a direct reaction to the mass casualties and suffering witnessed during World War I. The protocol marked a significant step in the development of international humanitarian law. Fast forward to 1993, the Chemical Weapons Convention was established. This treaty went further by banning not only the use of chemical weapons but also their development, production, and transfer. The Chemical Weapons Convention represents a comprehensive international effort to reinforce the prohibition of these weapons under international humanitarian law. It applies to both international and non-international armed conflicts, reflecting established norms in international law. The prohibitions on chemical weapons align with the core principles found in the Geneva Conventions and the laws of armed conflict. These laws aim to protect civilians and limit suffering during warfare. The use of chemical weapons undermines these principles by causing egregious harm to both civilians and combatants, thus violating the protections that international humanitarian law seeks to guarantee. Moreover, the use of chemical weapons is classified as a war crime under the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. This means that individuals can be held criminally responsible for ordering or carrying out such attacks. States also have a duty to prevent and punish the use of chemical weapons, reinforcing accountability within international humanitarian law. In practice, these prohibitions serve to protect civilians by outlawing weapons that cannot distinguish between military and civilian targets and that cause excessive suffering. International efforts, including investigations and sanctions, aim to enforce these prohibitions and deter future use, upholding the humanitarian objectives of international humanitarian law. The catastrophic humanitarian impact of chemical weapons during the World Wars led to the codification of strict prohibitions within international humanitarian law. These prohibitions reflected the fundamental principles of the Geneva Conventions and the laws of armed conflict, seeking to protect civilians and limit suffering in times of war.